Welcome back to another edition of The Explainer. So, get this. Did you know that over 90% of New Year's resolutions completely crash and burn by February? It's crazy. We all set these goals with the absolute best of intentions, but let's be real here. Only a tiny percentage of us actually cross the finish line. But hey, here's the good news. The problem? It's not laziness. Not at all. If you've been failing, it's just because you haven't been shown how to take a vague goal and turn it into a concrete, working system. So today, we're going to walk through the source material step by step and reveal the exact framework to make your goals a reality. Oh, and we're also going to cover one final step that almost everyone just completely ignores. So let's get into it. All right, here is our roadmap for today's explainer. Number 1, why most goals fail. 2, defining your true objective. 3, systems over motivation. 4, tracking progress and handling failure. And finally, number 5, the power of consistency.
Okay, kicking things off with Section 1, Why Most Goals Fail, the Reality Check.
Before we start building some brand new system, we kind of need to take a step back and recognize why the old way just wasn't working. You know the drill. We set vague goals, try to change our entire lives overnight, and just pray that our motivation holds out. Let's look at a quick tale of two different approaches. Meet overambitious Alex and systematic Sarah. So both of them have the exact same ambition. Alex, well, he writes down this massive life-changing goal, feels absolutely amazing about it for a day, but he never actually creates a daily action plan. Sarah, on the other hand, takes that exact same big goal, but she breaks it down into small, bite-sized daily actions and just works on them consistently. Fast forward a few months, Sarah has made massive progress, while Alex, yeah, he's right back at square one.
It really all boils down to this. Goals without action are literally just wishes. Seriously. Sarah wasn't necessarily any smarter or, more naturally driven than Alex. Her success just came from building a reliable process. She stopped wishing for things to happen and actually started building a system.
Moving right along to Section 2, defining your true objective, finding your why.
Okay, so this is where we actually lay the foundation. A good goal absolutely has to have a meaningful, long-term reason behind it. I want you to really stop and ask yourself right now, what do I actually want? And honestly, is this my goal or is it just someone else's expectation? Because it is incredibly easy to adopt goals just because society or maybe your friends tell you that you should want them. But without a deep personal connection to it, you're just not going to survive those really tough days. So separating your true objectives from outside pressure, that's step 1.
Once you finally figure out what you truly want, you've got to run it through a ruthless filter, the SMART framework. Now, you've probably heard of this before, right? But are you actually using it? Let's break it down. Specific means defining exactly what you want, no gray areas. Measurable means you actually have hard numbers to track your progress. Achievable ensures the goal pushes you, sure, but it remains grounded in reality. Relevant means it actively supports your larger life vision. And time-bound, that means drawing a line in the sand with a strict, hard deadline. This is the filter that takes a dream and makes it actually actionable.
Let's actually hear the difference in action. A vague wish sounds kind of like, I want to get fit. I mean, it sounds nice, sure, but what does that actually mean? Now listen to a SMART goal. I will lose 5 kilograms in 12 weeks by exercising 4 times per week and following a consistent nutrition plan. Bam! You see the power in that specificity? You have a precise target, a clear timeline, and exact parameters. Literally zero ambiguity.
All right, that brings us to Section 3, Systems over Motivation, the blueprint for daily action.
We really need to completely shift our paradigm here. Look, motivation is just an emotion, right? It comes and goes depending on, how much sleep you got last night. If you're relying solely on motivation, you're going to fail. Instead, you have to build a system by breaking things down. Because huge goals, they can feel completely paralyzing. So funnel them down. Take your big goal, break it into a monthly target. Slice that into a weekly target. And finally, bring it all the way down to a daily action. For example, say you're starting a business. That funnels down to a monthly target of choosing a product. That becomes a weekly target of creating your online store, which then becomes a daily action of just trying to get that very first customer. It's like a giant puzzle, piece by piece.
Which brings us to this really crucial daily focusing question. You should be asking yourself this every single morning. What is the one thing I can do today that moves me closer to my goal? Just one thing. Asking this cuts right through the noise and helps you build a really simple schedule with clear priorities, instead of just staring at this massive, overwhelming to-do list. Let's look at how this plays out in the real world. Waiting for motivation sounds like, oh, I'll exercise when I feel inspired. And, well,
We all know how that usually ends, sitting on the couch, watching TV, right? Building a system, though, sounds like, I have workouts scheduled at a fixed time. It happens whether you feel inspired or not. Want to read more? Build a system where you read exactly 10 pages every night before bed. Want to save money? Don't just wait around to see what's left in your bank account at the end of the month. Build an automated system that sets aside savings the literal second you get paid. Systems completely remove the friction of making those hard decisions.
Moving to Section 4, Tracking Progress and Handling Failure, the Resilience Cycle.
Now, because goals obviously aren't achieved in a vacuum, you're going to hit roadblocks, for sure. So first we have to identify the enemies, the common goal killers. We're talking social media constantly fracturing our attention, procrastination, negative environments that just suck your energy dry, multitasking, which totally destroys deep focus, and that classic trap of comparing yourself to everyone else online. To fight these off, you need some practical armor. Turn off those unnecessary notifications, set highly specific working hours, block out focused work sessions, and ruthlessly, and I mean ruthlessly, protect your priorities from outside distractions.
And since progress isn't always super dramatic day to day, you need tools to basically prove to yourself that you are, in fact, moving forward. Tracking creates accountability, so use habit trackers, do weekly reviews, rely on simple checklists just to get that little dopamine hit of crossing things off. We all love that feeling, right? Try journaling to process your hurdles and take monthly measurements. You really have to learn to celebrate the small wins because those are the exact fuel that keeps your whole system running.
But okay, what happens when things go wrong? And let's be real, they absolutely will. You need a resilience cycle. When you experience failure, which is step 1, you do not quit. Step 2, you extract the lesson. Step 3, adjust your approach. And step 4, continue moving forward. Setbacks do not mean your goal is impossible. In fact, the source material emphasizes a truly fantastic rule. Don't turn one bad day into a bad month. If you miss a workout, fine, it happens. Just don't let it completely derail your entire week.
To keep this whole cycle healthy, you've got to do some honest weekly or monthly reviews and just ask yourself, what actually worked? What totally failed? And what should I change? Notice how none of those questions are, should I just give up? Adjusting your strategy doesn't mean you're abandoning your objective. It just means you're getting a whole lot smarter about how you execute it.
And finally, Section 5, the power of consistency, the final takeaway.
All right, this is where everything we've talked about so far really comes together. The absolute ultimate driver of success, it isn't giant heroic leaps. Nope, it's relentless microscopic actions. Remember this, you don't achieve big goals in one giant step. You achieve them through small actions, repeated consistently. That is the central, massive message of this entire explainer. This right here is exactly how systems completely conquer mere motivation. If you just keep showing up day after day, the compounding effect of those tiny actions is going to make you unstoppable.
Your future is being created by what you do repeatedly today. So please, whatever you do, do not sit around waiting for the perfect moment or for some sudden magical burst of midnight motivation. I urge you right now, pick one meaningful goal, just one. Write it down, break it into smaller steps, and take the very first step today. Don't just let this be another explainer you watch, nod along to, and then totally forget by tomorrow. So I'll leave you with this question. What is the one goal you are finally going to achieve this year? Thanks so much for joining me on The Explainer, and hey, go get started.